Well, hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Kubeir, and today is another beautiful Saturday morning. So, starting with the quote of the week, the people who succeed aren't the ones who avoid failures, they are the ones who learn how to respond to failure with optimism. This is the amazing part, right? I mean, everybody at some point of time will find some failure, some hurdles, some challenges. The idea is to attack the failures with optimism and figure a way out instead of just getting bogged down, and you will certainly find a way out from there. So this is the Canadian Immigration Weekly Roundup. Follow us for trends as and how they happen on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. Topics of discussion today would be the PNP draw. Of course, we're going to talk about that. Then we will also talk about the ARIMA draws which have happened, and express entry news, and of course then we'll come to the question and answers. Starting with the PNP draw, the British Columbia continues to be the usual suspect. We had 289 candidates who were invited, which is always good to see, and they held two draws under the skills immigration and the express entry BC streams. 264 invitations were sent to the general draw with the minimum scores between 77 and 114. 114 is pretty high. And 25 went to candidates whose occupation is under knock code 0621, 0631, but minimum scores of 114. Again, very, very high. But because it was only very few number of invitations sent, probably that's the reason there. Ontario, on the 27th of January, conducted one of the largest PNP draws that they have done, and this was specific to the skills trade category. Now, skills trade category has been ignored, I would say, for quite a long time, but thankfully they have now been accounted for in this particular draw. The CRS range was between 381 and 461. And the skills trade that were listed was under the knock code minor 633 and major knock code groups of 72, 73, and 82. So basically the knock codes that were starting with 72 or 73 or 82, these were the candidates who, if they were in the express entry pool and were eligible, were invited to apply. And the CRS range, as I said, was between 381 and 461. Manitoba has also conducted their draw. They just managed to squeeze the draw information in, and they invited 315 immigration candidates, of which skilled workers in Manitoba 212, skilled worker overseas 63, international education stream for which you do not need a score 40 there, and express entry candidates were 69. ARIMA, or rather Quebec, was not to be left behind, and they have also started conducting their draws. But that was, I mean, they've published the information quite late. The draw happened on the 13th of January. They invited 512 skilled workers to apply, but they chose 21 targeted occupation, and the minimum score was 602, which is quite high. But again, with the 21 targeted occupations, they picked up some IT NOC codes, some engineering NOC codes, and some healthcare workers. So, I mean, ideally, I would have liked to see Quebec at least, giving a generic draw where they invite all different NOC codes instead of being the targeted ones, but they have gone the targeted way. So 21 NOC codes were identified. Looks like almost everybody is moving towards the targeted NOC codes, including express entry, if you haven't heard that. Well, what is happening in express entry? Well, there has been a few, I would like to say, appearances that Sean Fraser, the immigration minister, has made. He did one with a radio channel, I think about a week back, and then he did another one this week with another TV channel. I've never heard of them, but yeah, apparently within the Asian diaspora. So they did this with the TV channel, and in both the interviews, I felt Sean Fraser was reading a script primarily, because there was nothing much of any substance, that I would say, nothing which specifically addresses the concerns of people, nothing specifically which tells you, okay, this is what they're planning to do. So nothing meaty there which you could sort of chew on or bite your teeth on. But at least at least this minister is coming out and at least speaking and talking and willing to sort of take questions, even if they are scripted answers, even if he's sort of reading through the notes. That's all right, but at least there is something which he's coming out with. I am assuming this has a lot to do with the recent release of that internal memorandum and the panic that it created. And there was so much of talk about the cancelled applications, which basically was nudged by my dear friend Stephen Wimmons. And then from there on, there has been this basic situation where people were like really freaking out whether this applications will be cancelled or not. So at least he clarified that they are not planning to cancel any applications at this point of time. So that was a big relief. So that was, I think, the only thing which came out in a concrete fashion. So when it came about developing plans for Express Entry, there was nothing much from him. He said they're still looking to develop plans. Well, I'm not sure how much are they looking to, because there is an announcement that he will have to make and he will have to present to the parliament in, I think, about 2 weeks from now, in which he will have to announce the new immigration level plans for 2022, 2023, 2024. So that everybody is waiting for. I personally don't think they are going to increase the numbers. I think they will stick with 411,000 at this point of time. Obviously, they're not going to go below this number, but they probably will stick with 411,000. I would like them to change that number and increase it. And the reason why I'll say why the increase will come from. So I'm not sure if you've read the article. Stephen Murrens wrote this. It's on my Twitter account if you want to go and take a look at that. And he talks about these three different things, right? So one would be you increase the intakes because you need to have more people come in. But then if you increase the intakes, you cannot process the application with the same speed. Okay, so what's going to happen with that? So if you want to process the application with the same speed, you cannot increase the intakes, or rather whatever are the processing times, even those will be reduced. So these three factors of processing time, increasing the intakes, and the current applications that they're processing, all of these will not be able to be matched. And if they don't want to increase the intakes, then they will either have to continue processing whatever is ongoing at the same speed, which if they do, then the processing times go up. So it's a bit of a chaos, just like Phil Mooney mentioned this week when we were talking to him on a live chat. I still see a possibility of nearly 140,000 people to be added to the numbers. And where is that number coming from? That number is coming from the fact that they were short on their target in the year 2020, because they did not record enough number of people in the year 2020. So there was a shortfall of nearly 140,000 people. That number could be added, or may be added, or should be added. That's my opinion, basically. And if they can add that number to probably 2022's target, then suddenly there is this big number that opens up. We can now start processing new people. We can start going back into the intakes. But what is going to happen is, because your processing times are already taking a hit, then it is directly going to impact that. So a bit of a quandary there, a bit of a some khichdi that they need to dwell over. But I would love to see them add those 140,000, because right now one of the reasons they are looking to probably curtail or reduce the economic program quota for this year, or rather bring it into half, or push it down, bring it down to half, is because they don't have space for the TR to PR applications, which was about 87,000, and the 40,000 Afghan refugees. So they do not have where to fix this number within the immigration targets. So they're obviously looking at ways and means of doing it. I would say, why reduce these numbers when you could not meet your target in 2020? So you have a shortfall there of 140,000 people. But something that we have to wait and see. We'll have to see. Probably wait till the second week of February. I would love to see this 411,000 number go up, because if that goes up, lots of things can get better in terms of the way they are proceeding with, or all the fiasco that has been created in terms of how many express entry draws, or when they will happen, when they will not happen, because those numbers need to be met. So there was also this talk about $85 million that they have, what the Canadian government is looking to invest, or rather looking to infuse to clear the backlogs. Again, Sean Fraser's basic indication was that this money is being utilized towards some resources and towards digitizing the applications. Now, that doesn't give me a lot of faith into where that money is going to go, because uh, Express Entry is already digitized. So if all you're trying to do is digitize more processes, basically means it is not going here for sure. So I would then start assuming that the $85 million, a large portion of it is going towards the family applications, the spousal sponsorship applications, the humanitarian and compassionate applications, or rather the big PNP chunk of applications, which are paper applications. So you would assume that that's where the other option would be. What else have we got? Well, that's probably all that I have in this particular slide. So yeah, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, then please do subscribe to the channel. We need to see those numbers going up. Do share the video with your friends if you think it could be of any relevance, any importance to them. Later today, I will edit the video. I will remove the questions and put them in a separate video, and put the first part of the video separately, so that would make it a bit more easier to follow. If you are not following us on Instagram, then please, that's the link. Come back and follow us on Instagram, and you can see much more updates, information, stories, as and how they happen. That's just about all that I have for today. Thank you for joining in. Take care. Stay safe. I'll see you next time.